What happens when your entire family writes you off as the failure, the disappointment, the one who'll never amount to anything, only to discover that the person who mattered most had been quietly building you an empire in secret? I'm Grace Thompson, and until 3 months ago, I believed I was the mistake in my family's perfect story. But one sealed envelope at a will reading changed everything, and I mean everything. Trust me, what my grandfather Samuel Carter left me wasn't just money. It was a revenge served on a silver platter. And my family's reaction? You won't believe what happened next. Picture this. You're sitting in a mahogany-paneled law office, surrounded by your successful family members, waiting for the reading of your billionaire grandfather's will. Your sister Alexandra gets called first. $15 million, company shares, the family estate. Everyone smiles, everyone applauds. Then your name gets called, and the entire room goes silent. Not the good kind of silent. The kind where you can feel pity radiating from every corner, where your own mother won't meet your eyes because she knows, everyone knows, that you're about to be publicly reminded of just how little you matter. But here's what they didn't know. Here's what no one knew. Growing up as a Thompson meant following the blueprint. Ivy League education, business degree, corporate ladder, marriage to the right person, kids at the right time. My sister, Alexandra, she was the poster child. Harvard MBA, married to James Campbell, a rising star in investment banking, already being groomed to take over Thompson Holdings, my family's real estate empire. And then there was me, art school dropout, living in a cramped studio apartment in Chicago, working 3 part-time jobs just to afford paint and canvas. I was the whispered disappointment at family dinners, the daughter they introduced with apologetic smiles. This is Grace. She's exploring her creativity. My parents, David and Margaret Thompson, never said I was a failure outright. They didn't have to. It was in the way my mother changed the subject when friends asked about my life. It was in my father's tight smile when I mentioned a gallery showing. It was in the family Christmas card where I was strategically positioned in the back, half hidden behind my cousin. But Grandpa Samuel was different. Samuel Carter, my mother's father, had built his fortune from nothing, starting with a single apartment building in 1960s Detroit and growing it into a nationwide empire worth over $500 million. He was tough, demanding, brilliant. But with me, he was gentle in ways that confused everyone else. When I was 12, he bought me my first professional art set, not for my birthday, not for Christmas, just because he saw me drawing on napkins during a family dinner. When I had my first tiny gallery showing at 22, he showed up unannounced, stayed for exactly 10 minutes, didn't say a word. But the next week, I found a handwritten note in my mailbox. Never let them dim your light, little artist. The world needs your colors. I kept that note in my wallet for 8 years. So there I was, October 15th, sitting in attorney Robert Mitchell's office after Grandpa Samuel's funeral, wearing my only black dress and trying not to feel like an imposter among my perfectly groomed family members. Alexandra looked stunning, as always. Designer suit, perfect hair, that confidence that comes from never being told you're not enough. Attorney Mitchell cleared his throat and began, "To my granddaughter Alexandra Campbell, I leave the sum of $15 million, 30% shares in Carter Holdings, and the family estate in Lake Forest." The room exhaled approval. Dad squeezed Mom's hand. Alexandra's husband, James, nodded with satisfaction. This was expected, deserved, proper. Then Mitchell looked directly at me. "To my granddaughter Grace Thompson, I leave the contents of a sealed envelope, to be opened privately, away from family influence." The silence that followed wasn't just awkward, it was violent. I felt my cheeks burn with humiliation. Even in death, was Grandpa reminding everyone that I was worth less? A consolation prize? A gentle goodbye letter while everyone else got millions? My father stood up, his voice carefully controlled. I believe this concludes the relevant portion. Grace's gift seems to be more sentimental in nature. But Mitchell held up his hand. Actually, Mr. Thompson, your father-in-law was very specific. Miss Thompson must open this envelope immediately, in private, with only myself present as witness. Family members may return afterward. After everyone filed out, some sympathetic, others relieved they wouldn't have to witness my final humiliation, I sat alone with Mitchell, my hands trembling as I opened the envelope that felt lighter than air and heavier than the world. Inside was a letter in Grandpa Samuel's careful handwriting, and what I read changed everything. My dearest Grace, if you're reading this, then my time has come and yours has begun. For 30 years, I have watched you struggle in a family that couldn't see your worth. They measured success in dollars and deals. You measured it in beauty and truth. They never understood that you weren't the disappointment. You were the miracle. Your grandmother, Rose Carter, was an artist before she married me, the most talented painter I ever knew. She gave up her dreams to build our empire, and I watched her light dim year by year. I swore I would never let that happen to you. For the past 15 years, Grace, I've been building something in secret, a collection of contemporary art worth $30 million. A gallery space in downtown Chicago, fully renovated and ready to open. A trust fund of $5 million to ensure you never have to choose between your dreams and survival. And an apartment above the gallery where you can live and create without anyone's permission or approval. This isn't charity, my dear girl. This is justice. You are my true legacy, not because you share my blood, but because you share my belief that the world can be more beautiful than we found it. The attorney has all the documents. Everything is yours, protected by legal structures your father cannot touch or contest. You are free, Grace. Finally, completely free. I stared at the letter until the words blurred, reading it 3 times before the reality sunk in. $30 million, a gallery, an apartment. Everything I'd ever dreamed of handed to me by the one person who truly saw me. Mitchell placed a letter portfolio on the desk. Your grandfather spent 5 years setting this up, he said quietly. Every detail planned, every legal protection in place. He wanted you to succeed, Miss Thompson. But more than that, he wanted you to be free from their judgment. The documents were overwhelming. Property deeds, insurance policies, collection catalogs with photographs of paintings worth more than most people's homes. There were works by emerging artists, established masters, even 3 pieces I recognized from galleries I'd visited and loved, but could never afford. And then at the back of the portfolio was a section labeled Grace's work. 12 of my own paintings, purchased anonymously over the years, valued collectively at $200,000. He'd been collecting my art, investing in me, believing in me. While my family saw failure, he saw potential worth $30 million. When I returned to the conference room, clutching the portfolio like a lifeline, the atmosphere had shifted. My family sat in uncomfortable silence, probably preparing sympathetic words about grandfather's sentimental gesture. My mother looked up first. "Oh, honey, what did he leave you? One of his old books? Maybe some jewelry that belonged to your grandmother?" I set the portfolio on the table and opened it. The property deed for 423 West Fulton Street, Chicago, a 3-story building in the heart of the Gallery District. Insurance documents listing artworks with values that made my father's eyes widen. Bank statements showing accounts with my name and balances that shouldn't exist. Alexandra leaned forward, confusion replacing her composure. "Grace, what is this?" "Grandpa Samuel left me his private art collection," I said. surprised by how steady my voice sounded. $30 million worth of contemporary art, a fully equipped gallery space, and a trust fund to run it. The explosion was immediate. "That's impossible," my father snapped. "Dad never mentioned any art collection." "This has to be some kind of mistake," my mother whispered. He couldn't." But Alexandra was reading the documents, her business training making her process the numbers faster than anyone else. "This is real," she said quietly. "This is all real." For the first time in my life, I watched my family struggle to understand their place in my story, instead of me struggling to find my place in theirs. The shift was intoxicating. "I don't understand," my mother said, her voice small. "Why didn't he tell us? Why all the secrecy?" I looked at her, then at my father, then at Alexandra. "Because you never believed I was worth investing in. Grandpa did." That was 3 months ago. Today, the Thompson Gallery, named for my grandmother Rose Thompson Carter, has been featured in Art Chicago magazine, hosted 5 successful exhibitions, and given me a platform I never imagined possible. My relationship with my family? It's complicated. Alexandra and I meet for coffee sometimes now. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't know how. But she listens when I talk about art, asks genuine questions about the gallery. My parents are trying, awkwardly, to understand this new version of their daughter who doesn't need their approval anymore. But the most beautiful part? Every morning, I wake up in my apartment above the gallery, surrounded by art that moves me, in a space that's entirely mine. I touch the framed letter from Grandpa Samlo on my bedside table and whisper the same words. "Thank you for seeing me." So here's my question for you. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Like your dreams didn't matter because they didn't fit someone else's definition of success? I want you to know something. Your worth isn't up for debate. You don't need their permission to shine. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Hidden Hearth for more incredible true stories of people who found their power in unexpected places. And tell me in the comments, what's your hidden talent that others might not see? I'd love to hear your story too.